Town Without Pity is a 1961 drama film directed by Gottfried Reinhardt that was an American-Swiss-West German international co-production. It would find box office success and launch a hit song onto the United States charts. In 1960 occupied West Germany, 4 drunk American soldiers leave a bar and head towards a river in the nearby countryside. Sergeant Chuck Snyder, played by Frank Sutton, Corporal Birdwell Scott, played by Richard Jekyll, Private Joey Haynes, played by Mal Sondak, and Corporal Jim Larkin, played by Robert Blake. At the river, 16-year-old local Fraulein Karen Steinhoff, played by Christine Kaufmann, tries unsuccessfully to seduce her 19-year-old boyfriend Frank Borgman, played by Gerhard Leipert.
Frank's caution angered her. She blamed it on his mother, who she knew wanted to separate them.
Niemand wird uns trennen.
No one will separate us.
Dann beweis es mir doch.
Then prove it to me.
Du, ich glaube, da ist jemand.
Niemand.
Du hast recht gehabt, niemand.
Gott sei Dank, ich habe schon Angst gehabt für dich. Grüß dein Mamarchenschild von mir. Von mir aus kann sie dich behalten für immer.
Of course no one was there. No one but Mama's shadow. Well, run along, Mama's boy, and tell Mama she can have her son. All to herself.
Swimming to the bank on the other side, Karen strips off her bikini and is confronted by the drunk soldiers. She is then assaulted. While 3 of the soldiers leave, guilt-ridden Larkin stays behind and covers Karen with his shirt before he flees the scene.
It's okay.
The men are quickly apprehended, and to appease the anger of Germans, the commanding general orders that the court-martial be held in public in the town's local high school gymnasium. Major Steve Garrett, played by Kirk Douglas, is assigned to defend the accused men. The prosecutor, Lieutenant Colonel Jerome Pakenham, played by E.G. Marshall, decides to seek the death penalty.
Major Dowling, will you swear her in?
Please raise your right hand. You swear that the evidence you give here shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I now draw your attention to the events of September 5th. Late in the afternoon, you went swimming with Frank Borgman in the river near the dam, correct?
Yes.
As it started to get dark, you swam back to get dressed, right?
Yes.
And now tell us exactly what happened when you got back to where your clothes were.
Suddenly, I felt something in back of me. I turned around and there was a man.
Is that man in this room now?
Yes.
Can you point him out to us?
There. On the right. The first one.
Let the record reflect the witnesses identified, Defendant Sergeant Snyder.
Garrett begins investigating the case, speaking to local residents about Karen and her habits. He is followed by a German newspaper reporter, Inge Korner, played by Barbara Ruding.
What would you do?
Get into my dress.
Exactly. Before you do that, you have to do something else, don't you?
Like what?
Now, don't tell me you're going to put those nice, dry clothes on over that dripping bikini.
I suppose not.
You know not. Before you get dressed, you have to get undressed, don't you?
In theory, maybe.
Tell me, which would you take off first, the bra or the shorts?
The bra.
Good. That's off. And then you bend over it.
And I take off the rest like this. Does this satisfy your dirty mind?
It wouldn't if I really had a dirty mind.
Tell me, what are you trying to prove here? That Karen Steinhoff seduced those 4 brave, innocent American boys?
Just wondering how long she stood around here naked. Really, Miss Kerner, don't you think you flaunted yourself long enough? You better get some clothes on.
3 of the men plead not guilty, while the shaken and distraught Larkin attempts to enter himself into a plea of guilty.
Not guilty, sir.
Private Haynes.
Not guilty, sir.
Corporal Larkin. Please answer the question. Guilty or not guilty?
Sir, I know how I'm supposed to plead, but I also know what I did. So if I'm going to be honest about it, I have to plead guilty, because, sir, I am guilty. I did...
Disregard that. The law grants him the right to plead not guilty and place the burden of proof on the prosecution.
But, sir, I did...
Therefore, if it pleases the court, Corporal Larkin changes his plea to not guilty.
Proceed, Colonel Packenham.
Garrett tries to talk sense into Karen's father, Carl Steinhoff, played by Hans Nielsen. He tells him that he will have to break his daughter down on the stand and take a look at her reputation in order to try and get his clients off.
If Karen were my daughter, I'd leave this town before I let her appear tomorrow.
Leave my town? What do you think I am? An American who has no town? Who's always building new towns? Who has no feeling for the place where he was born?
Isn't your daughter more important than a pile of stones?
That pile of stones, Herr Major, is where my grandfathers were born and buried before you or America even existed.
What's that got to do with your daughter?
How can a man like you understand? You spring from nothing. You come from nowhere. I will not let you drive me from my town.
You know, Herr Steinhoff, I was born in an American town that was founded 134 years before Germany became a nation. I'm very fond of my town, too, but I'd leave it gladly and never look back if I had a daughter who had...
But Karin is my daughter. She'll do what I say. I'll fight you.
But you won't fight me. Karen will, and she's not strong enough.
Get out of my house.
As the trial continues, Garrett has no choice but to break Karen down on the stand, and as the damage on her reputation continues, it becomes inevitable that the town will turn against her. This film was based on the 1960 novel Das Urteil, The Verdict, by German writer Gregor Durmeister. Filming took place in 1960 in the towns of Bamberg and Forchheim in Bavaria, Germany, with some scenes shot at a studio in the Austrian capital of Vienna. Kirk Douglas, who claimed that he broke the Hollywood blacklist by hiring Dalton Trumbo to write Spartacus, denied Trumbo's request for a credit on this film. Kirk Douglas feared that his continued association with the communist screenwriter could hurt his career. This movie marked Christine Kaufmann's American film debut. Christine Kaufmann was actually 16 years old when she played the 16-year-old victim in this movie. The film's score is by Russian composer Dmitry Tiomkin. Tiomkin also wrote the music for the song Town Without Pity, with lyrics by Ned Washington. The song was performed by American singer Gene Pitney. In 1961, the song reached number 13 in the United States on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 chart, as well as number 10 in Canada, number 31 in Australia, and number 32 in the United Kingdom. In 1962, Town Without Pity won a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture Song and was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song. This movie was released in West Germany on March 24, 1961, and then had a wide theatrical release in the United States on October 10, 1961. It grossed a total of $1.2 million at the box office, making it a modest success. This is a really cool movie. I find it very dark for 1961, and despite being a domestic courtroom drama, there are undercurrents of the Cold War era feeling in the film. This film came out the same year the Berlin Wall went up, and you can tell that it does have that early 1960s Eisenhower-Kennedy Cold War undercurrent. Kirk Douglas is fantastic, E.G. Marshall is great as always as the prosecutor, and Christine Kaufmann is convincing as the anguished victim. Overall, I will give this an 8-star rating. It is a hard-to-find but effective early 1960s courtroom drama. I highly recommend Town Without Pity.